We spend years learning how to love others. Nobody teaches us how to come back to ourselves. Think about the last time you did something just for you. Not to be useful, not to be needed, just for you. Can you even remember when that was? He couldn't. He was described as the kindest person in every room he entered. His family never went without. His friends never asked twice. His colleagues never heard him complain. And yet, the one person Rayan had never once shown up for was Rayan. This is that story. The apartment was clean, not personal, clean. No art on the walls, a half-drunk cup of chai on the counter, made at 6 a.m., forgotten by 6:04. Rayan's alarm rang at 5:47, not 5:45, always those extra 2 minutes. Shower, dress, phone already buzzing before he reached the kitchen. He answered it while tying his shoes. By the door, on the windowsill, sat a small potted plant. Dry soil, slightly drooping, still alive, barely. Rayan passed it every morning without looking at it. We met Rayan not in a quiet moment, but in a corridor.
I'm on my way.
A hospital
Almost out the
corridor,
door.
3rd floor. His mother, Sana,
Here you
had
are.
just had a procedure.
Take your
Nothing
time.
critical, enough to warrant a visit. He pushed open her door with one hand, set a bag of food on the table without making eye contact, held up one finger, 1 minute, and stepped back into the hallway to finish the call. When he returned, Sana was asleep. He sat beside her, and within 4 minutes, he had opened his laptop. This was Rayan. Outer goal, keep everything running, never let anyone down. Inner need, one he had no language for yet, to stop. To exist as something other than a function. He had a habit no one had ever noticed. When the pressure built too high, he pressed his thumbnail in the center of his palm, a private signal, a small, silent alarm that no one around him ever heard. As he stood to leave, Sana opened her eyes. She tried to say something. Rayan smiled. "It's fine, Mama. I'm fine." She watched him walk out. She did not look convinced. His brother Dean called at midnight for money advice. Rayan answered, voice soft, no trace of inconvenience. His best friend Tariq talked for 40 minutes about a job problem. Rayan listened the entire time, asked the right questions, never mentioned he had an early meeting. His colleague Layla leaned on him through a hard week. Rayan, who had survived a harder one, never said so. The warmth was real. The love was real. That is what made this complicated. One evening, Tariq said, "I don't know what I'd do without you, man." Rayan smiled. "You'd figure it out." He genuinely believed this, about everyone, except himself. Rayan was not performing sacrifice. He was a man who had simply never learned that love could include himself in its address. The performance review was on a Tuesday. Rayan had stayed late 200 nights in the past year. He had mentored 3 junior staff. One of them, Bilal, had been quietly positioned for the promotion Rayan was told he was next in line for. His manager read from a sheet. "You're a team player, Rayan, an asset. We just felt Bilal showed more personal initiative." Rayan nodded, thanked them, shook hands, walked to his car, sat inside it for 11 minutes without starting the engine. That same evening, Tariq canceled their dinner with 3 words. Something came up. No explanation, no follow-up. That same evening, Dean called, not to check in, to ask for another favor. He had given everything he had, and the world had simply made room for more. Rayan did not break dramatically. He did not raise his voice. He did not cry, not yet. He went home, made chai, forgot to drink it. He sat at the kitchen table with his phone face down and looked at the wall. The apartment felt for the first time like what it truly was, a place he paid for but had never lived in. He picked up his phone, opened a contact, put it back down. There was no one to call, not because no one was there, but because he did not know how to be the one who needed something. He had spent so long being someone else's could lean on that he had forgotten, or perhaps never learned, what it felt like to simply be. He looked toward the window, the small potted plant, dry, drooping, still alive, barely. That night, at 11 p.m., Rayan stood in front of his bathroom mirror. He looked at himself, really looked, and then he said it out loud, quietly, the way you say something when you finally mean it. I will not disappear for anyone else's comfort again, starting now. I come first. Not dramatic, not angry, just finally, irreversibly true. He walked to the kitchen, poured the cold chai down the drain, made a fresh cup, sat down, drank the whole thing, slowly, while it was still warm. The next morning, Dean called. For the first time in his adult life, Rayan let it ring. Before he left the apartment, he stopped at the windowsill, filled a glass with water, watered the plant just once, just a little, and walked out the door. He started small. He blocked 2 evenings a week. He declined a favor from a colleague, politely, clearly. It took him 4 attempts to send the message without an apology attached. He signed up for a writing class he had abandoned the idea of 10 years ago. The first night, he sat in the back row feeling absurd, the oldest student, the most uncertain, but he stayed. 3 weeks later, Tariq called. He was cold. "You've changed, man," said like an accusation. Rayan was quiet for a moment. Then, "Maybe." He hung up. The old Rayan would have called back immediately, to soften it, to apologize, to make Tariq comfortable again. He didn't call back. That same week, in the writing class, Rayan read a paragraph aloud, haltingly, without confidence. Afterward, a quiet woman named Noor, who sat 2 rows ahead, said only, "That felt real." She didn't elaborate. She turned back around. Rayan opened his notebook and wrote those 3 words on the inside cover. Then came the call he had been dreading most, his mother, Sana. She had noticed the change. She wasn't angry, she was worried, in the particular way of mothers who mistake their child's healing for distancing. "You don't seem like yourself," she said softly. This one landed differently than Tariq's words, because he loved her more. Because she wasn't entirely wrong. He didn't seem like the old self. He just didn't want to be the old self anymore. He almost went back, almost called Dean, almost sent the apology to Tariq. Almost. Instead, he closed his eyes. He pressed his thumbnail in the center of his palm, a private signal, a small, silent alarm that no one around him ever heard. 3 months after the vow, Rayan visited Sana. No laptop, no calls. He brought chai. He sat across from her. He did not hold up one finger. Sana looked at him for a long moment. Then she said something she had clearly been carrying for years. "When you were 7, you used to make sure everyone else had eaten before you picked up your fork. I thought it was beautiful. I should have told you then that you were allowed to eat too." Rayan said nothing for a long time. Then, "I'm learning, Mama." This was the moment, not because it solved anything, but because Rayan understood that the problem was never the people around him. It was the story he had told himself about what love requires. 6 months passed, not triumphantly, quietly. Rayan finished the writing class. He did not become a writer, but he kept the notebook. He slept better. He ate breakfast sitting down. He answered the phone when he wanted to, not every time it rang. Bilal came to his desk one afternoon, awkward and genuine. "I heard you were passed over for my role. I want you to know I've learned more from watching you work than anything else here." Rayan nodded, accepted it, no bitterness. Tariq eventually called back. The friendship changed, more honest, less convenient, harder, better. Dean sent a message on a Thursday evening. "I think I've been taking you for granted. Can we talk?" Rayan replied, "Yes, I'd like that." Rayan was not louder now, not harder, not colder. He was simply present, present in a way he never was when he was trying to be everything to everyone. One morning, Rayan picked up his keys. He reached the door. He stopped. He turned back. He walked to the windowsill. The small plant, the one that had been dry and drooping the night he made the vow, was full now, green, leaning gently toward the light coming through the glass. He hadn't fixed it in a day. He hadn't overwatered it trying to make up for lost time. He had just shown up for it, a little, consistently, over months. He looked at it for a long moment. He tucked his notebook under his arm, the one with 3 words written on the inside cover, and walked out the door. Rayan never became someone who stopped caring about others. He just stopped pretending he wasn't someone who deserved care too. We watched him let a phone ring. We watched him sit with his mother without his laptop. We watched him water a plant, slowly, quietly, over months, and somehow, in doing that, water something in himself. The world did not fall apart when Rayan chose himself. It simply reorganized around someone who finally knew his own value. Maybe that is what focusing on yourself really means. Not turning your back on the world, but turning your face toward the one person you had been leaving behind.
You cannot pour from a cup you have never allowed anyone to fill, including yourself. Before you close this, think of one thing you have been postponing, not for others, for yourself. One small thing. Maybe it is a call you haven't made, a dream you have been keeping in the back of a drawer, or maybe it is simply sitting down with something warm and letting it be enough. Whatever it is, you are allowed to begin. If this found you at the right moment, there is more where this came from. Join this community. We are building something honest here, one story at a time. The most dangerous thing you can do is spend your whole life being everything to everyone and nothing to yourself. Don't let that be your story.